Stephen A. Smith has sold out to the point that he went from telling everyone to get over the Epstein files
You're in an uproar off the Epstein list?
to now trying to blame the Democrats for releasing them just to get back at Trump.
Of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question.
But he's legitimately dangerous because he's intentionally ignorant, obnoxiously loud, and wrong way too often for someone that has a platform as big as his.
I don't know. I suspect, but I have no knowledge, nor do I care. It's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out and enjoy myself. I'm getting ready to have a nice weekend. I could give a damn about the client list, the Epstein client list. It has no effect on me whatsoever.
But he has never once criticized Trump for being named in the Epstein files multiple times.
House Democrats released more emails from Epstein that showed Donald Trump knew more than he was letting on. Then to make matters worse, the right-wing media ran the stories on the email, even going so far as showing some of the more incriminating emails to their audience.
Stephen A's desperation to be taken seriously as a political commentator has really clouded whatever judgment he had. He somehow found a way to blame Democrats for not releasing Epstein documents that they didn't even have access to. But he's never condemned Trump for being in the files.
The Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then?
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration.
False.
You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then?
Bro is the definition of loud and wrong. It doesn't care because he's not going to come back and make a correction and say he was wrong about anything. Just like Charlemagne isn't going to come back and say, my bad, I was wrong to chastise Democrats for fighting to keep people's ACA premiums lower.
This is disinformation that we're seeing that Charlemagne is doing. This is not just mistaken information. This is intentional going after Black voters.
He's not going to say that. Neither is Stephen.
What am I missing? I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question.
How long does it take to Google something, read a few articles, and then have an informed opinion about it? Why are you on your show blaming Democrats and yelling about something that you're admitting in the same breath that you're misinformed about or uninformed about?
Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office.
He's wrong for multiple reasons. One, the emails that we're seeing now from Epstein naming Trump multiple times to Ghislaine and to Wolf had nothing to do with the documents that Congress had.
3 emails were recovered from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell and others about Trump's involvement in his ring. One of the emails, Epstein said, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. The victim spent hours at my house with him and he has never once been mentioned by police, chief, FBI, or other law enforcement.
What did the second email say?
The second email was from Epstein to Michael Wolff, who was an author that wrote 4 books on how great Trump is. The email from Epstein said, the victim at Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never remember ever. Of course he knew about the girls. He asked Ghislaine to stop. The email was from 2019 while Epstein was being questioned, and months later he was officially arrested for the second time.
These emails are completely separate and a completely separate thing from Epstein's estate. So this is new documentation.
Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now, what were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? See? This is the kind of stuff that smells. Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump.
It's so weird to see people do this. You got all this energy and smoke for Democrats for making documents public now, which is what the general public has asked for. But you don't have any smoke, any criticism, any negative energy toward Trump, the person actually named in those emails, being said to be in a room for hours with victims or being the dog that hasn't barked yet. You would rather defend PDFs and attack people trying to stop PDFs than say one negative word about the PDF.
This guy says, I don't give a single F if Donald Trump was with 17-year-olds in bikinis or if he slept with them. I care about deportations. When I see Indians and Mexicans in my country, I don't think, well, at least Joe Biden wasn't friends with Epstein. I can't believe this is what the MAGA movement has become, openly shrugging off SA of minors. Not arguing it didn't happen, not denying it, not even pretending to be outraged. Just saying that if Trump did terrible things to a 17-year-old against her will, they don't care. This is not politics anymore. That is moral bankruptcy.
Because my attitude is just deducing how much they despise Trump. is if there was some real bona fide dirt on him, since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, a star, so she wouldn't reveal their happenings leading up to the election in 2016, okay? If you had something like that you were willing to parade him through the streets with, of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. That's just my thinking from a logical perspective. But what do I know?
Not much. He's just mixing a bunch of things all together. I believe the Epstein documents, the 200 plus pages, whatever, were under seal because it was still an open case during the Biden administration. The government prosecutors, nobody else, would be releasing private information about Epstein that could implicate other people to warn them or set alarms off that they may be suspects or indicted soon or anything like that. So what he's saying just doesn't make sense. And of course, you immediately have conservative pages sharing this video and agreeing with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith calling out Democrats for only caring about Epstein files under Trump's presidency. Where was the outrage while Joe Biden was president? He's right. He's not right. He was dead wrong. And then all the tweets disagreeing with it. Props to Stephen A. for being able to confront this. They didn't have interest in it because President Trump was in no way implicated. But a lot of them and some Republicans could be, as well as some in power with foreign nations. Democrats are doing their best to distract from the completely failed Schumer shutdown. It's not working. These people live in just a delusional bubble.
That Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
Under this video, people break this down very simply in the comments. The Department of Justice prosecuted Ghislaine during Biden's administration. You remember Ghislaine, she was Epstein's girl procurer who also essayed the girls. She's the woman Trump is now letting off and probably going to pardon. Biden DOJ convicted her, then dealt with her appeals. You people are morons. Facts. And nobody is saying anything about all the favors and soft treatment that Ghislaine is receiving under Trump, being moved to minimum security prisons, and the idea of her pardon being floated out there a while ago. And this is a very simple, very clear explanation. Here's why. The Epstein files, like grand jury records, FBI materials, and civil case evidence, are mostly under court seal or protected by law, meaning the Department of Justice and President Biden legally cannot just release them at will. Federal law strictly forbids public release of grand jury materials unless a judge authorizes it. Much of what people refer to as Epstein files includes ongoing investigations, witness information, and unindicted individuals' names, things that are protected for privacy and legal reasons. Very simple. Stephen A. could have Googled that. He could have put up a poll on X or Instagram, or just asked a lawyer before getting on camera, talking nonsense and being wrong as hell. But we gotta remember, at this point, Stephen A. is a shill. All he wants to do is be the conservative black talking head, like the main face of black conservatism, and that's what he's doing. So he's gonna take every opportunity he can to attack Democrats, like what he said about Jasmine Crockett.
Educated, brilliant black woman is engaging in verbiage and rhetoric for the streets.
Then had to walk back when black people called him out.
I can look Jasmine Crockett in the face and say, I'm sorry for any kind of noise I caused in your direction.
But another very simple explanation that he could have gotten from Twitter. The Epstein files were under seal during the Biden administration due to Ghislaine Maxwell's trial. No one had access to them, and anyone with information about what is in them could be putting that trial in jeopardy and risking a mistrial. If people understood how our system of justice actually works, they could save their time and energy on these ridiculous, nonsensical takes. Stephen A. is not interested in understanding anything. He just wants to make a point to demonize Democrats to get brownie points from conservatives, which is what he did. And the worst part about this, just like I said about Charlemagne the God, he's not going to come back and correct himself. He's not going to issue an apology. He's not going to say I was wrong. I didn't know what I was talking about. He's just going to make the next video and be wrong about that too. Because at this point, where he is with his platform, Stephen A. doesn't really have to be right. He doesn't have to correct information. He can get up here and talk nonsense and spew bullshit, and conservatives will eat it up. Because at this point, they're delusional. They are trying to save face with the way that they voted any way they can. They will overlook anything and everything Trump does or is accused of just to not have to say that they were wrong and there was a better candidate to vote for. And in case the other explanations weren't clear enough, this is a complicated case with a lot of files, so I know it's easy to confuse what's what. What Stephen A. Smith doesn't understand is that the emails released Wednesday are from Epstein's estate. They were obtained from Epstein's lawyers pursuant to a subpoena that was issued by the House Oversight Committee. And I believe believe Jasmine Crockett is on that committee. These documents are separate from the criminal case files held by DOJ and the FBI that Trump and Bondi promised to release after the election but never did. As for why Biden and Democrats didn't release the criminal case files, Maxwell's criminal case was still open during the Biden administration. She wasn't convicted until late 2021, and then she appealed her conviction. Generally, it's not a good idea to open your evidence files when a criminal case is ongoing. We also don't know whether the FBI was still investigating other possible suspects who helped Epstein or participated in his crimes. If you are still targeting suspects, you don't want them to know you are zeroing in on them. But with takes like that and attacking Democrats every chance he can, Stephen A is now trying to use reverse psychology on Democrats to say y'all are scared to talk to me.
Jasmine Crockett has been on this air, or invited on this show for 4 months. AOC has been invited on this show for 4 months. Gavin Newsom has been invited on this show for longer than that. Props to Hakeem Jeffries. He's a friend of the show, always welcome on here. I like that man. I respect him. Chuck Schumer's been invited on this show, hasn't shown up.
What would it benefit anyone to come on Stephen A's show? This dude is intentionally uninformed on the topics that he's talking about in the political realm. He has no idea what he's saying half the time. He goes with whatever the conservative narrative is, and he demonizes Democrats every chance he gets. What would be the point? He told people to get over the Epstein files.
You're in an uproar off the Epstein list? That's all you've got? It's really, really surprising that this matters. Of course, I think there's a list, but I don't know. I suspect, but I have no knowledge, nor do I care. It's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out and enjoy myself. I'm getting ready to have a nice weekend. I could give a damn about the client list, the Epstein client list. It has no effect on me whatsoever. I have a life. I don't understand for the life of me why this matters so much to these. I'm talking about people losing it. They're crying on camera. They're talking about resignations. They're pissed off about everything. I'm like, really?
He criticized Jasmine Crockett for being an outspoken black woman, basically.
Donald Trump isn't some misunderstood genius. He is a walking indictment with a microphone. A man who screams about everyone else's IQ while tripping over the most basic test of all. Tell the truth. Respect the law. Don't treat the country like your personal crime scene.
Educated, brilliant black woman representing over 750,000 people is engaging in verbiage and rhetoric for the streets. And that's fine when you're in the streets. How many of y'all bring the streets to the table when you at the negotiating table trying to get a deal done?
And now he's trying to blame not releasing the Epstein files on the Democrats, even though he's dead wrong about all of that. Why would anybody give his show any time?
Where they at?
Minding their business.
Every single Republican I have asked to show up on this show has either said yes or that they're coming.
He hasn't said it, but he's clearly a Republican. He's clearly a conservative. He speaks with conservative biases and leanings. So why wouldn't they come on his show if they know they're going to get a friendly puff piece interview or podcast moment? Whereas Democrats have nothing to gain by dealing with the Stephen A. Smith.
Not the Dems, why?
And this new Fox conservatism turn isn't new. Stephen A. has been riding Trump's meat for a long time, saying ridiculous things to hype him up or defend him.
As much as people may have been abhorred by Donald Trump's statement weeks ago, talking about how black folks, he's hearing that black folks find him relatable because what he's going through is similar to what black Americans have gone through. He wasn't lying.
He was absolutely lying. Trump has been rich his whole life. Trump got millions of dollars from his dad to start his own company. Not to mention he has a history of racism leading all the way back to when he was buying apartment complexes.
Donald Trump has a history of racism himself.
No, that's not true.
Are you kidding me?
sorry,
Donald Trump
that's not
started his
true.
career with racism. In the 1970s, he was sued for housing discrimination. In 1989, he was a part of he was led the lynch mob against the Central Park Five. In the 1990s, he was sued by casino workers for racial discrimination. He led a 5.5-year campaign against Barack Obama for allegedly not having an accurate birth certificate. Donald Trump came in office talking about he was going to ban Muslims, and he was called Mexicans were supposedly bringing drugs. Donald Trump has a long history. You didn't deny anything of the things I just said.
There is nothing relatable from a black man's experience or a black woman's experience to Donald Trump. And Stephen A. saying that is just giving House Ninja vibes. I don't know what else to call it.
He was telling the truth. When you see the law law enforcement, the court system, and everything else being exercised against him, it is something that black folks throughout this nation can relate to with some of our historic, iconic figures. We've seen that happen throughout society. So no matter what race, what ethnicity you may emanate from, we relate to you when you're suffering like that, because we know we have.
I assume he's talking about black civil rights leaders like Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr. being spied on by the FBI and CIA and being tracked and followed, phones tapped and all of that. They didn't do anything illegal. They were just black people speaking up for protecting and guiding other black people. They were black leaders. Trump has been convicted of like 30 felonies. I can't. I just can't. I can't.
That's what he articulated.
At the end of the day, Stephen A. just wants Trump to point at him like this so bad.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about?
And he's willing to destroy his reputation and sell out any morals or decency that he had to become as popular, as successful as he was in the sports realm. Crazy times. But shout out to my channel members. I appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.